here, as you can see that various nodes are deployed, right? And these nodes are try to communicate, right? They are not, suppose the nodes are deployed at the edge, they are not directly contact to the gateway. So they have to create their path, right? They have to build their path to send the data to the gateway. So now here, this node will come, you can say as a gateway also, or you can say the base station or anyone. So for this node, this intermediate node is a gateway. So this node will send to the this node will send to the this. Likewise, it will, the data has to be reached to the gateway, and from gateway, you need a internet connection, right? Because in the remote area, you don't require any internet connection. Through wireless channels or through wireless communication technologies, nodes can transmit the data to the gateway. But from gateway to the client side, right, you need an internet connection, either wired or wireless, right? So this is a simple architecture type of wireless sensor network node. But when you can say that the new terminology come into the picture, which is called IoT, Internet of Things. So now people say that fine, these nodes are not able to communicate because sometimes it's possible that this some of the nodes are have a problem or they are not working properly. So what should you do? The only thing is that these nodes are not connected to the internet. So now the thing is that the person has to go to the particular site, right? Then they have to check the nodes that if it is a faulty or it's any minor error or it's a server error or software error, whatever error is that, the person has to visit the site. Then after rectifying the problem, they have to resolve it by the same node, or they can deploy a new node instead of that, and they can configure and again come back to the client side, means office. Now this is the very time consuming, right? Because sometimes the location is not nearby, the location is too far. Clear? So now the picture coming to that, is it possible to do something like that? These devices which are deployed over a remote location, can we access those devices? Can we interact with those devices? So yes, you can, and that will come into the picture called Internet of Things. So what is Internet of Things? What is the network of Internet of Things? That any physical objects that you have in your mobile phone or in your home, any physical objects, like you can feel it, that object can communicate and send a data or to another physical object, right? Through internet. So things, the term things means physical objects, nothing but the two physical objects can communicate, can interact, right, through internet. They are communicating the data, they are sharing the data through internet to each other, like through suppose you have a smart AC in your home. So whatever the remote is there, through remote you can access it, or smartwatch is there, through smartwatch you can turn on AC, turn on TV, right? So your smartwatch is one device, which is physical device, and AC is another physical device. This two devices can communicate, right, to each other through internet. So your watch is also connected to internet, and also other physical thing is also connected to the internet. They can access the information. Now these devices are also have a constraint in terms of what? This is not a device like have a like your AC, big AC, or you can say the TV, right? Sometimes that are the device, that are the physical device. It is not like that. It's not like not a device, TV or AC. But if you talk about IoT device that are deployed in a remote area, right? They are tiny device which have some constraint, right? So which are the constraint is that because these devices are battery operated, because they deploy on a dense environment, so they doesn't have a power connection there, right? Or these are battery operated, right? So and they have a limited amount of ROM and RAM. They are not having a like your PC or laptop, right? Because this IoT device have a operate on microcontroller like MCU. Okay, so MCU has a limited amount of RAM and ROM, not like your microprocessor. So this limited amount of RAM and ROM and battery operated. Okay, so when you, and other thing is that this device are deployed in a remote area. Remote area means far. So they can generate the data, they can try to communicate. So you have to be make sure that you cannot run a high-end configuration algorithms or high-end configuration on those devices. Normally sends the information from surrounding and passing the data to the node, like to the edge device. That is sufficient for that the battery can be last long. But if you deployed a large amount of algorithm or complex algorithm on top of it, then this device battery has to be drained after some time and you have to replace it. Okay, so this type of constant maybe happen, but normally the battery will be last long, so you don't have to worry. But based on your algorithm it may be changed, and there are various network issue also, right? So now you can see that this IoT, Internet of Things, has a potential, right, to transform not only businesses, right, like for the client purposes I'm thinking about, but also it can bring to the society and everyday life, right, to transform your society, to transform your everyday life also. Now as you can see that the main goal is that if you have somebody tell that how can you describe the IoT term, so you can say in simple terminology that I can access those devices anytime from any place, right, from any device. I can access a particular device or so many devices anytime or from any place. Either you can use by traveling, right, you can make a connection and do it like this. Suppose you have a internet connection and in your at your home with the AC, okay, and you are traveling by home and it's too hot in the atmosphere, so you can, by traveling home, by in your car, by sitting in your car, you can say that it will turn on the AC at this time. So when you reach home, your house will be cold, not that much hot, right? So at night time, daytime, so anytime you can access it. Any place means any movement outdoors, indoors, in that the PC, or anything connections means either you can do between human to human connection or human to thing connection for general equipment, or things to things, device to device between the PCs, right? Between the PCs also. So now it is the terminology is saying that IoT will empower, right? Empower the people to achieve their objectives, either objectives in terms of, because if you think about IoT applications, right, it is a terminology thing about the health education, health related queries, education related queries, enjoyment, family related, work related. So there are many objectives which accomplish to their purpose, right? And either the government can use this technology to serve their citizens. So here you can see that this is the various types of sensors, as you know about which type of sensor is available. Now the main thing is coming to the picture. I already explained the what is wireless sensor network. I already explained the IoT. Now what is the difference between these two? Okay, so in wireless sensor network, you can see that there is no direct connection of these devices to the internet. This device cannot connect to the internet, I already explained. So they can send the data to the internet by connecting several nodes, or you can say that they have to send the data to the central routing node or you get. But IoT is already a device has to be connected to the internet. So suppose you want to make a wireless sensor network as a IoT network. Okay, what you have to do? Correct. So wireless sensor network is there. So any physical object, you assign the IP address, connected to the internet, run several applications on top of the devices, add the cloud computing technologies if you want to upload it to the cloud and etc. And you can add things, as many as things you need based on the requirement. So it is possible. You can create a wireless sensor network, and that wireless sensor network can become a IoT network also. But you need to connect those devices to the internet. So sometimes the sensor network is referred to as a subset of IoT. Now, how can we make wireless sensor network as an IoT network? So first approach is the both independent wireless sensor network, right, and the internet through the single gateway. So you can put the gateway as per this topology, This is the one. You can put a single gateway at the edge. So you can make a wireless sensor network as a IoT network, because this device can communicate to the internet directly to the gateway. But the problem is that there is one point. Suppose the gateway is failed, right? If gateway is failed, then something happened, like router, right? Router may not be work, router fail, anything happened, no? You cannot have an internet connectivity. So another approach is that you can use as many as gateway, right? As many as gateway inside that. So one point of failure, you can transfer the data to the another point of failure, right? And the third approach is to hybrid. So what you have to do is inside the wireless sensor network, this is a good approach. Why I'm saying is because a hybrid approach, you can say that, or hybrid network like that. Instead of the edge of the network, you can put the gateway inside the network. So many gateway, you can configure it in such a way that this make a cluster. Okay, so several sensor nodes will connect it to the gateway, and then that gateway will communicate to the internet, right? So there's a one hop away from the internet, and you can use the IEEE 802.15.4 access the physical link to transfer the data. Now let's come to the picture. Now there are many perspective. Suppose as a student perspective, okay, students perspective, you can say that what is IoT. So students say that, okay, I want to build some application like smart agriculture, so I can use devices like Arduino board, right, and Raspberry Pi, and connect the several sensors to GPIO pins, and then I can fetch the data through cloud or send it to the open source cloud and like this, and measure it and show some graphs. Fine, that is good. As a student's perspective, it is good, right? But as a developer perspective, what do you think? Developer perspective, okay, this is the GPIO configuration. How GPIO configure, right? How this actually data has to be sent, right? How can I write the coding, embedded coding, which is called embedded C, either used embedded C or other programming languages, embedded programming languages, so you can do it, right? Now, as a client perspective, like business perspective, what do you think? So now it will come into the picture that there are several factors, right? Several, or you can say that several people or several businesses or governments, right, that can use this. So normal type of interaction will be happen like person to person, person to business, person to systems, or many way. And various organizations and international projects are using it. Their companies like IBM, 1M, 2M, and Samsung, Amazon, they are all coming to the market of the IoT, right? So as you can see that there are, in terms of IoT applications, right? So basically, if this image has to be taken from the internet, and the classification of the IoT application, right, is based on the connectivity among people, things, and as per of businesses. So mainly three classifications we use. First is the personal domain. Personal domain means as for user, like you, like me, at home, what we need, what we demand. So there are various application of that. First is a smart healthcare and well-being. So a user would wear a smart clothes or carrying the wearable devices like the glass, watch, right? And he is exercising or eating, like me and you are exercising or eating or something, studying, right? So this healthcare or well-being will be used in that. So if you use IoT system, like to monitor the person's health, the person's of particular health, like heartbeat or uh, BP or blood sugar, clear. So this will be used in smart healthcare. You can know that smart healthcare applications are too many and people are working on it, right? And well-being means the special assistance that needed either to infant or elderly or patients, right? A person with a special needs. So doctor can use this IoT systems to monitor, right, the person's health through connected devices. So it will help to send the pharmaceuticals and drugs. So well-being will be especially use it for special diet or like this. Smart educations, like it's a one particular IoT system that continuously monitor, like teacher can use it, like the professors like can use it to monitor the learners, like those who are good, those who are not good, so they can encourage them, right? by providing them education materials, right? Ask them appropriate questions according to his progress and check their emotional states. So smart education, you can use it. Smart home, everybody is know the smart home. I don't have to explain that. You can make any water here, your purifier or gas, electricity, gas sensor. So you can use smart metering or everyone concept to make it home smart, right? And now the next domain is build business domain that actually people are looking at it. So in business domain, we can what that business person or the industry consider that the applications, IoT applications, right, enable the businesses to uh, accomplish their purpose. For what purpose they are using these IoT applications, right? They can benefits them. So smart building is there. Smart building means that monitor the office lightings, right? Air condition equipments or resource uses, like you can enter then and then light should be on, otherwise it should light should be off and the person can come out. So this type of, even the office uses, how many times the internet uses is there. So this is smart building purpose. Is there an intruder coming into the this, or you can fire alarm. So these are the applications for smart building. Smart industry means you can use it for robots to make a smart factory or manufacturing unit to improve the production. Then next, smart services, there are health related, banking related, insurance related, right? Tourism related. So tourism related, you can say that it would track the particular visitors, right? And recommended that these are the good destination for that purpose. Either they can give you a path. Suppose a person goes to the hiking, right? They can provide this path is good for you hike purposes. So some retailing and logistics like cargo shipping on warehouses, inventory management type of thing. Transportation and smart vehicle, like it would enable the passengers that luggage container, like everyone know that airport they are using the barcode system, but we can make it that smart also, right? Toll gate, now the smart card will be using, right? So there are smart vehicles applications also for that. The next application is agriculture. Everyone is knowing that now the agriculture people using the drones, right? Micro UAV drones to monitor the crop, to planting, for planting purpose, for spraying the pesticides and all the purpose. You can maintain the stocks also in warehouses. So these are the business domaining applications as per the business, as per your business requirement. You can use it, right? You can build it. Now the public domain contain the smart city, right? The community part. Then they can use the utilities, smart environment. Smart environment would be one about the pollutions. Like you can see that, like Delhi or in Bangalore, some areas they put them holdings that monitor the what you get that pollution level index, right? So in winter, if you travel to Delhi, you can see that pollution level should be maintained, right? There's too much pollution. So these are the things people can use a various application based on that, but as well as there are various challenges also, right? Because as a IoT, right, if you use the technology, there are some consequences, correct? So which are the challenges as a technological point of view? Suppose there are 4 points: technological, societal, business and human. So as a technological point of view, right, what are the challenges? Like you use the devices, okay, sensors, actuators, right? So the networking, you have to set up the network, the communication should be happen, whether the computing should be performed or not, data management, right? If you cloud platform, then cloud is perfectly, data has to be sending to the cloud or not, right? So it is like that. Suppose if you provide as a business perspective, right? As I suppose I am a businessman, if you provide as many as uh, technological things included, high-end technology included, but it is never enough for users perspective. It's a greedy applications, right? Suppose I want only this, no, you can add this thing also now, it will be help my business also. So it is not enough for this type of application, sorry, it is not enough for the end users. So day by day new technology will come, and if you give the application to the user, after sometimes after exclaiming all the things, they say okay, this is the fine, but can you add this, this is would be good. So it is not satisfaction for the clients, right? You have to be make sure that, and security is a more important purpose. So technological challenges are many there. societal. So if you use the advanced technologies, it creates a various questions to be answered by the society, those who are using it. First is the educational purposes. So if you need to educate a specialist, or you need to educate the public, general public, on IoT or in particular type of applications, or you can enhance their education's purposes. Democracy, how normal citizens, suppose you deploy the IoT applications, how normal citizens can use it, right? Whether they affect the citizens, whether they affect the society, right? So as well as economic, security, privacy, these are the things it will come into the society, right? Challenges, business challenges means businesses that develop and sell IoT systems, like various industries sell IoT systems for businesses. Either they buy from somewhere else or they use IoT systems. They have to be adapted to the new advances and changes. Every time the new technology will come, they has to be adapted, right? That they should change not only their working practices, but they have to think about, right, their limitations also. They have to think about the new technology. For example, let me give you an example that to radical, the company has to be change the radical and rapid changes, right, to collaborate with the private or other public organizations. Like suppose I have running one company, I will build this type of hardware, but my client require more, right, some type of new requirement that I'm not building. So what I will do, either you have to do collaborate with the industries that are building this, they are your competitor, no problem, but you have to collaborate with this, then and then your business will grow, right? And sometimes it have a challenges also. If you offer the uh, what you can say, that offer them the proposal, but they denied it because they said we can do it, right? Some human challenges also effort, like affect the users needs, want and expectations, right? So now many people think about that, what the user's perspective you can think about. So either you can think this diagrams will already uh, give you an overview that suppose how the attitude, acceptance on adoption, intention to use by the users, either they will be user, either a particular IoT ecosystems or producers mean the who produce the IoT systems, and environment, or environment is totally needed because the stakeholders that are using its producers or stakeholders, or they are deployed in the remote environment. So environmental conditions is very useful that. So as you can see about the users characteristics, either they have a gender, age, education, experience, right? There are various perspective people can look at characteristic of that, as well as you can see that systems, IoT systems characteristics, right? So what IoT systems characteristics means include the usability, how the people can use it, functionality, performance means particular IoT system give the good performance as per functionalities, giving reliability is there or not, security, interoperability, there are many good at. Now the producer's perspective, as you can see that uh, like brand name, which good brand, like IBM is doing, we can use IBM. Intel is doing, we can use Intel's processor. But if some startup should be there and building a processor, oh, startup, whether it's good or not, let me use that. So this is the characteristics of the producers, right? Brand name, industry sector, size, customer supports. Okay. And if you see that here in this environment, in this figure, that inside that various systems can communicate, various users can communicate, various producers can communicate, and environmental conditions can also come into there. So user interact among themselves, right? So as well with the characteristic of IoT systems, like this arrow will we see that user can interact among themselves as well. They can use the IoT system characteristics. So this way, all things are connected to each other, right? So now there is a one particular thing. It is called user perceptions, right? Users perception in terms of you can see that model, IoT users perception model, which are having the various factors like categorize, right? Something like user system interaction. If you see that user system interactions, then if user to system interaction, right, in particular model. So how the user can think, right, about the systems, IoT ecosystems, right? So in terms of ease of use, right? It should be easy to use, simple, clear to understand, right? Comfortable, without much effort you can install it, or uh, what you can say that uses of that, the how you can remember this, it's easy to use, simple, likewise uh, it can easy to operate. So this wise become easy to use, accessibility in terms of, right, aesthetics. Then you can see that various diverse characteristics, awareness, one is the same thing as awareness in terms of what that user believes that a particular IoT ecosystems, right, which have with accuracy, clarity, and giving the real-time system users billing cost. So these are the awareness that suppose one particular user wants to buy IoT system, wants to acquire IoT system. That is, user is aware about the IoT systems, a functionality of that IoT system, a billing cost of that IoT systems, right? So for example, suppose a person might know who is monitoring the users, what operations being executed, what information is processed, stored, or communicated, for how long time it's communicated, to whom it should be communicated, right? And for this type of that, how much cost should be charged, right? So these are the things that should be awareness, ubiquity, support should be very good, right? Suppose in between some systems, artist systems are uh, have a problem, right? So some documentation is there, some help desk is there, or troubleshooting is there to monitor the real-time problem or whatever, right? The control is that in terms of particular IoT system is that how he could control the resources. So this is the user's perspective of IoT systems, right? User's perspective to IoT systems, how it should be. Now, a particular system perspective. What the system perspective is, efficiency is there, how its functionality, performance, right? Reliability. Reliability is very much important, right? It should not be error. Your IoT system should not be faulty. It prompts to solve the errors, right? Recover from the failures, right? The reliable communication should be happen. Availability means it should be available. It should not be time that sometimes it should be dead because of problem, correct? So these are some electrical shutdown if you use the remote array system. So now one of the main is energy efficiency. If you think about IoT systems, energy efficient, if you run devices, it should be energy efficient. So these are the characteristics. You can say so many characteristics, right, as a IoT system perspective, right? And at the end, what you need a results. What systems results? Usefulness first is. So particular usefulness means it's considered how the such as solving the problem, achieving the objectivity, then abilities to skills, enhance the skills. Satisfaction is very important as the results, right? Whatever the value for achieving it or not, right? Privacy, a particular artist system, he could consider a private information, something that to find out stored, used, or manipulated or communicated by whom. So it should not be disclosed, right? So privacy things are very important in that. Enjoyment is something like whoever buy the IoT systems, buy the IoT ecosystems, or use IoT ecosystems, they have to be satisfied with this, right? User believes that it should be fun, it should be pleasant to use this system. It should not be like stress, anxiety like this, stress like that. Oh yeah, मैंने ये system लेके गलती तो नहीं कर दी ना. This type of should not be come into the pictures, right? So it should be results perspective. These are the things, social ability, right? So if If you think about a normal, these are the can purchase IoT systems, and these are the perception system interaction or many system interaction persons want to. Yeah, so the users person say that particular client perspective, what they want, particular business perspective. That as per that, there are many categories, right? So you can use it like suppose if you go to the IoT, if you students perspective, let's talk about the students perspective. If particular students wants to go into the IoT domain, right? So there are various categories to go into the IoT domain. Either you can go with this suppose you want to work on hardware side, right? Like microcontroller board or any other board. Clear? So you can go into the future direction called embedded hardware designer. They have specifically designed a hardware to firmware design for the particular device driver development, right? So these are the opportunity for the students perspective, right? That I want to go to the embedded hardware. Now suppose someone is good in uh, application point of view, like building an application using any programming language like Java, Python, or any, right? So suppose I want to build a software for the IoT system. Good. You are not good at hardware, fine. You can go to the software designing, like embedded hardware designer is building only hardware, firmware designer like this. It is not going for the software perspective, right? Software perspective, there is a specially opportunity in the market that people can go to the embedded software engineer. So embedded software engineer means what they have to do, they have to build an application, they can directly try to communicate with the hardware, get the data and publish in a very good manner, either through GUI or any purpose software development. So there is a special opportunity for embedded software engineer. Clear? So embedded hardware engineer, embedded software engineer, right? And suppose this is a student's perspective I'm talking about. Now, as a client perspective or as a business, suppose as a user perspective, what you think? So as I already explain all the things that for a user's perspective, when you go with the IoT system, suppose I am a normal user and I want to, excuse me, I am a normal user and I want to buy a IoT systems. Suppose I want to purchase, I want to make my home smart. So I want to go with the various categories, right? With the various vendors, industry. Now I have to analyze each and everything about that. So I'm a new in it, so I have to study about the things, right? And many factors it will come into the pictures. Like I have to study about the system's characteristics. I have to study about the vendor's perspective, which are their characteristics. If I install it, the IoT system in my home, right? What effect will be happen, right? As a user, what I need, right? To make a smart home. I don't want everything. Smart TV, smart fridge, smart. I don't want anything. I only some purpose I want to switch on the fan or switch on the AC. This small purpose for need, or I want to make a fully, right? So user attitude, intention to use or actual uses, that is very good thing when you consider the IoT systems into the user's perspective, client perspective. So that's and from my side. Now I'm not going into the deep, like what are the protocols people are using, what protocols you can use. That will be for next webinar. We can go into the deep, but the webinar's topic is users perspective. So what you think about users perspective, right? That I have covered here. So now I'm open to answer your questions, anything that you want to ask. Anything? Any question from your side? Any questions from your side? I'm able to answer it. If you are not, no, sir, you are not audible, Krishna sir. Am I audible to all of you? Hello?
You are audible, sir. Shall sir, you are audible.
Okay, fine. Thanks for letting me know. So if you are shy and if you don't want to ask a question, you can ask the question in chat box also. So I can answer here also.
Is it audible now, Vishalji?
Yes,
Audible,
sir, it
Krishna
is
sir.
clearly audible.
Yeah, yeah. So I would like to thank Vishalji. Please, do ask any questions if you have. Before that, I would like to give some closing remarks
sir.
here. Let me just share my screen. I'm not sure whether you have seen our bridge course on IoT technologies. So hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Visible, sir.
Yeah, great. So I would like to just leave you with some information related with the bridge course that we have in the IoT. We are from the CDAC team.
Okay,
So
someone is asked that I have a question, how Python will useful for IoT? Yeah, so Python is a programming language, as you can aware about that. So Python can be useful to make a script. Okay, so as the software side, it is good. Okay, software side, if you go if you want to go for your career as a software developer, right, in IoT, Python is very useful. So which are the ways the Python can useful? The first way is that using the Python, you can create our applications. Next thing, Python can be useful. Suppose you build an IoT system and you want to extract the data from the remote development, the remote deployed nodes, right? You can make a script using Python, right, to access it. Either you can use the Python script for the remote server to get the data from the remote server. To visualize the data, you can use matplotlib, right? So this way you can use it. For hardware purpose, you need to use embedded C also, embedded C or normal C. So software purposes, Python can be very useful. Hope I'm able to answer your questions. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Even I want to say that for Python, one good thing is that you can use Python to make a device compatibility checking, like interoperability checking. Is Python is very good for that. You can make a application for that device compatibility. Other than that, you can use Jupyter Notebook. I think the Python is application. So Jupyter Notebook, using the Python, you can access the remote site like IoT lab. If you want to use, I just mentioned here, right? People can use it. If another webinar, we will go with a special webinar on available freely for public users. And these people can use the Python. So from using here, you can Jupyter Notebook, right? Using the Jupyter Notebook, you can directly connect with the site, right? And run your experiment using the Python. They have some command line interface, Python command line interface. So you can run an experiment, extract the results, view the results. So it is a good purpose for you also, that the questions you asked me about. So for interface purpose, it's good. For software purpose, I already explained that. Hope you are able to get it.
Vishalji, Krishna here.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Anyone else?
Vishalji. Priyanka, am I
Any more
audible?
questions from your side?
Yes, sir, you are audible for me.
Some
This is
information
simple
on which
user
course has
perspective,
been
is not in
given.
detail. So if you want to ask in detail some questions, I can able to, if I'm good, if I'm able to answer it, it will be good for me.
Vishal, sir.
And this is a bridge course, as Krishna sir is already shared. This is bridge course for IoT software analysis job role. There's especially bridge course for professional looking up for upskilling their program IoT technologies. So it may be useful for, you can see that for students perspective, for professional perspectives, right? You can enroll this course, right? It's a blending course, blending learning course. You can online, you can learn, and if you want to work on real hardware, right, you can come to the CDAC and access using our hardwares. You can do some practice on top of that. So 4 months it will be valid for 90 hours course, and you can use our e-labs. Now we have a e-labs also, right? So the same hardwares we are using here, we can have a e-lab, like you can say that virtual lab. If you heard about that, several NITs and IITs and several triple IITs are having a virtual lab for various purposes, okay, to run the experiment remotely. Okay, so you can use our e-lab. I think it will be launched in a few weeks, I think next week or few days, you can say that it will be launched. So you can use it e-lab purpose. We have deployed several embedded hardwares there. We have a Indus board and so many other boards the CDAC have. We have created a special experiments, right, for the beginner purpose, for intermediary, for masters, for experienced person. Several experiments are there. So in eLab, so you can choose it, you can set it parameter, right, and you can actually visualize what happened based on your program. So if you turn on the LED, okay, fine. So I will turn on red LED. So I will write a coding and see actual visible, and then okay, fine. This will be useful when you do not have any hardware with you. So it is a good option for eLab also. It will be launched in a few days or few weeks. Yes, anything except this? Questions? I think I do not have a question. So many people. So Priyanka ma'am.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Vishal, sir, for taking up
Mr.
the
Subodh
webinar.
want to say something? I think it's no. Okay,
No, sir,
fine.
thank you.
Anything else from your side? So Krishna sir, those who are interested with software analysis bridge course, already there.
Okay.
The link is provided in the chat box.
Thank you,
You can
Vishal.
go through
Hope
that.
I'm audible. Think I'm
Yeah, this
losing the
course is
link.
online course. Okay, not online, blended. So you can complete your theory part there. Okay, and suppose you want to come here for practical purpose, right? You can come here. Otherwise, you can use our e-lab to do some practicals. That's your requirement. But right now, its course is online. Fine. Okay. Thank you. Anyone?
Priyanka, you may please give the closing remarks. I'm having some issues, I believe, in connection.
Okay.
It's
Thank you
already
everyone
there
for
in chat box. Krishna sir is already there. I can ask madam or sir that they will mail you if you provide a mail ID in your while when you register for this webinar. They will send the details to for bridge course to you also, all of them. So it will be helpful. I hope I am not bored you because it's all theory purpose theory. But what the main thing about main motto about this webinar is that how people can think what is IoT, right? As a different perspective, which are the characteristics, which are the factors, right? As per user's perspective, as per business perspective, as per normal perspective, students perspective, systems perspective, because system is also have their perspective. We want something from system. The system also has something that we need. right? The system also want to need something, but there's a perception as per the new IoT systems, how it look like and how people can think. This is the way in webinar. The PPT will provide you on your mail ID. I think ma'am will send. Anything else I'm able to answer, then it will be helpful for me. You also, it will be great for me. Yeah. If there will be no questions, then Priyanka ma'am.
Hello, is it audible?
Yes, madam, it is audible to me. Am I audible to all the participants or?
You are, sir. You are audible.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So, see, on behalf of CDAC and on behalf of this team, which is working on the FutureSkills Prime project, I would like to thank all of you for participating in
New
this
information.
webinar. And we shall be sharing the details of the bridge course as Vishal was mentioning. This particular bridge course has been offered in the online come blended mode. So, what we mean blended
It will be
is
good for me that something, whatever I say in webinar, it will be helpful to you. Okay, thank you.
I think there's some problem, Priyanka. Vishal is not able to hear, I guess.
Yeah, I guess his audio has some issue. I will just talk to him. You can continue, sir.
Yeah, please share the bridge code details to all the participants.
Yes. So the course link has already been put into the chat. You can refer to it. I will just repost it again. And as the sir told, it is blended learning course, which is a 90-hour course. Most of it is online recorded sessions. You can take up hardware labs at our centers if you want to. You can come here at CDAC and you can take up the course. Other details are there in this link that has been posted. You can refer to it. So we will end up the session today here. Thank you everyone for joining in. Hope you have a good day. Thank you.